joining IOL, and I hope that you will be successful. So the presentation is about how to deal with SPS, which is school-based studies, to have a better understanding of what is awaiting you once you have gone out to your school. So the purpose of the presentation is actually to equip you with the necessary information you need to be successful in completion of your SPS assignments. All the presentations that you are assigned to and your lesson preparations. And later in the presentation, we will be dealing, just to have a chat on how to deal with redo. Now, what is a redo? A redo is when you were unsuccessful during your stay at school. For some reason, you may not complete the session at the school, or IOL visits the school and then you are not there. You are not able to submit your book, the SPS book, or any other reason that hinders you for not submitting your work, then you will have to redo your SPS. So we urge you to try your level best to complete your SPS. The time that you are staying at the school, use it to your benefit. So what is school-based studies is the question that comes up. So IOL is actually giving you an excellent opportunity to go out to schools where you are in a real life situation and you actually engage in daily lesson presentations. You learn about the curricula, you know about the students, and you are being assigned to a teacher who will be looking after you for your stay. So we can, in a nutshell, that we can say that it's an opportunity given to you to gain the necessary practical experience in a real classroom setting. Obviously, the procedure, there are certain things that you will have to follow to complete and to be successful in this SPS training. There are rules that you will have to obey, and also you will have to commit yourself for during the stay at that particular school that you have chosen. So on the left-hand side, you see what this is actually an image of the workbook. It's your guide, which is edition 6. And I urge you to read through this particular study guide. Some tutor information. We are actually 4 tutors currently. And on the screen, you will see the information. I'm not responsible for all the qualifications, just for some of them. The first person on the screen is Miss Mildred Besser, and email account is also visible with Miss Jalen Kloete, and there you will also see contact details, myself, my contact details, and then Mr. Reno Brandt. You can just familiarize yourself, in the face in terms of the assignments that you will be dealing with. And then you can also find out with IOL who is the person responsible for you. And then you are welcome to contact us. You may reach us via email. You can send us SMS messages or even WhatsApp text or voice messages, so that we can come back to you, follow up, and give you the required information that you need to succeed in becoming a teacher. So we will be looking at some don'ts and some do's. and you need to be cognizant of the following, that we are not located at the IOL offices, so we don't have access to IOL information. We are not administrators there. Our sole responsibility is to take care of your SPS related uh, work that you have completed and submitted for grading. So this is our sole responsibility. So we won't be able to answer some questions like if we receive your study guide, your SPS guide, or have your work being marked, or when will you receive your marks. This is out of our scope. These questions are the questions that need to be directed to the IOL administrators. But in terms of other, SPS related in terms of content, in terms of your responsibilities, that we can assist you with, but not with administrative questions. But some information on guidance on the SPS study guide. We need to also be aware that your SPS is a component that actually there are three arms. So we have assignments. It's one component, but we have assignments. And these assignments, you receive them via your student portal, and you must also upload it electronically. And then we have lesson preparations, which these are hard copy submissions. Currently, we have the lesson presentations that have to be passed. All of these, each of these 50%, which is also a hard copy. Now, the first one is submitted online. The second one and the third one is actually one book. And the book is now containing two components. One of the components is the preparations. Preparations are all those lessons that you are writing out. That you have presented. So that is actually the practical part. And the all administrative, the presentations is all the administration of your book that is being seen as, a presentation. We are checking whether you have actually presented those lessons at school, the marks that your uh, teacher at the school assigned or awarded to you. We do some verifications on those marks, and then we give you actually an average on what you have achieved at school, and then we deduct some of the tasks that you may not have done, or that is still, some limitations in your book. So make sure that all sections of your book it's been completed. So if these sections are not completed, then you may be punished, penalized, and you may not get marks for all work that you were supposed to be doing. Right. Looking at the assignment, so uh, basically the assignment is very much practical oriented. So you may be asked to engage with some students, learners, or some teachers to conduct interviews with them so that you can get the necessary responses to those questions. You are also encouraged to consult your some documents, school documents, policies, which will help you, to answer questions in terms of the assignment. There is also a part where you need to do some observations, and then you need to do the record, what you observe, your knowledge about the school, where you will be staying, your time, the period to complete your SPS. So you are encouraged to answer all the questions. This assignment is like the mark allocation is 100 marks, and you will have to start immediately with your assignment so that you don't run the risk that you will not be able to submit because you are not done. You must score a 60% in the assignment as well. So we discourage, last minute attempts. Try to do it as the time you spend the time at school, as you have a leisure moment. Please do work on your assignment and we finish it on time, and then also then submit it electronically. You might have heard about information letter that you have received, and we also encourage you to read this letter before you actually start with your SPS. It's imperative that you have an understanding of, what is expected of you in terms of the letter. And there are some also advice as to what you can do to make your stay memorable and also worthwhile. So we urge you to be present every day, as you don't know when our administrators or coordinators from IOL will be visiting your school, and then you may not be there, and then you miss out on an opportunity. So you are also advised to stay at school for the whole school day, for the whole period, uh, which is actually linked to your particular qualification. And if you do not stay at school for the duration of your SPS uh, period and IOL, being informed, or they visit the school and you are not there, there's going to be severe consequences for you and your SPS will be cancelled. So, meaning if your SPS is cancelled, then you have failed, and then you will have to repeat the phase. And we would also want you that you should, once you are at school, um, once you are at school, you must stay there. You can't just be at the school, running away, running some errands while you're at school. And so you will have to um, apply for leave at your workplace so that you are focused when you are at the school, and not like just being 2 hours at the school and for the remainder of the day you go back to your workplace. We encourage you that you apply for leave and then you stay at school for the required time that you have committed yourself to do so. So we will be keeping in a separate attendance register, which the senior staff of the school will be administered. And then you will have to sign in, and they're also taking your attendance on a daily basis. In your book is also a section where you will have to record your own attendance, but the school is also responsible. You will have to sign in at the school on a daily basis, which will be shared with IOL. As I alluded to earlier, this is serious. You must be at school for the duration of your SMS period. Some other procedures that we would want you to take cognizance of and be well informed about is that make the best of what IOL offers you to gain that practical experience. And this is compulsory. It is SBS is a compulsory component of all the teaching programs at IOL. We have already said that the structure is like you have the 3 SPS periods per year. Uh, so you will be going out to the schools 3 times a year, the exposure. and then you must qualify for each phase. So this will be communicated with you. So only qualifying students, they will be receiving an SMS communication, and then they will be then, provided with the necessary documentation as well, which is like one of the most important thing documents that you need is your procedure, the SPS procedure and guidelines. You also have then an SPS schedule. You have the principal permission letter, which we call the PPL, and then observation and report forms. We also have a part and parcel of your SPS workbook. Is there a section which is 7.1 and 7.2, which actually deals with observation, where you will be, doing some observation of the teacher that you are being assigned to. So one of the main responsibilities for you is not only to teach, but also to observe. You have other responsibilities, and you must select a registered school, and be mindful that it should be a registered school. You need to obtain a principal permission. So that is the permission from the principal that you may stay for the required time, the period of SPS at that particular school, and then follow all SPS dates strictly. These dates will be communicated with you. Important rule is that you are advised not to do SPS at your workplace. This is discouraged. SPS components, we have spoken about it. It's your assignment, it's your lesson preparation, and it's your lesson presentation. I actually introduced this already to you, but it's just here that you know it's part of the procedures. With the PPL process for the student, and then you will be collecting your PPL. You get the principal signature and the stamp, and then you submit this particular PPL to IOL via the principal will submit it to IOL via email. So not submitting this will also result in failure. So see this as important. Right. Um, the staff has got also a responsibility, so they will capture and scan your PPL, and then they will also verify and file your documents, all these documents that you submit to them. And they do have responsibility in terms of the distribution of the SPS guide. So the guide will be released to you after the PPL approval, and then you need to collect it, or it will be dispatched to you. In terms of the school visits, so the tutor at the school, a teacher at the school will be assigned to you, but the tutors will also may also visit you, and also IOL coordinators may visit you while you are at the school, and then you will be then conducting your lessons there for the most of the period that your assigned teacher, support teacher, will be responsible for you. Uh, but IOL will certainly visit your school, and then they will familiarize yourself with what you are doing, and they will also be writing a report on how your performance. About the submission of the study guide, you need to submit the study guide on or before the due date, and there is a checklist that you will have to complete to ensure that all sections in the study guide, and you have, done your part so that the book is complete. What about incomplete guides? Your study guide, if you submit it and it's incomplete, your phase will be cancelled, and then you will be receiving the book. You will not accept the book. You will get your book back, and then immediately your studies will that phase will be cancelled, and you will have to go back to the school. The next opportunity, the next uh, uh, cycle that SPS is offered, and then you will have to resubmit it for the next term. So redo policies, so assignment redo needs to be done immediately, and we will be speaking about this later. So you will have to do the presentations, the redo, you will have to write out your lessons, and you will have to present the lessons. More about later. We encourage you to strictly adhere, to these procedures of the SPS so that your success is actually guaranteed. In terms of the completion of the SPS book, um, complete the book to the best of your ability. So you will have to complete all sections in the book. We encourage you as tutors to take pride in your work and also to use legible handwriting and also to use blue or black ink. We also urge you to complete your book, as we alluded to earlier, to the best of your ability. On the screen is this what your study guide, the first page looks like. So there is a section which we will be recording your mark. This is now the tutors. Part A will be completed by the tutor who will grade your work. So the IOL tutor is not to be while you visit your school. IOL tutor will this and not you while you are visiting the school. The teachers at the school will also not complete this part. This is strictly for IOL. You are responsible to complete section B and also section C. And we have found that sometimes your study guide reaches us and then you have not completed these sections. You will be penalized. There is a part D, and this part your support teacher will write his name and also put the signature there, and you will also sign. So ensure that party is taken care of. This is a completed page 1. You will see in red pen, it is what we've done. You see that assignment is not being recorded there because that is submitted electronically. So the assignment mark is not being recorded here. Then you see the other parts, we literally mark each of the pages in your SPS study guide or your SPS book. Attendance register, you are encouraged to complete this on a daily basis. Your attendance register needs to be completed on a daily basis. Moving forward, we have then an example for you as what it should look like. And if you are not able to attend school and you are issued a medical certificate, make sure this medical certificate reaches the school as quickly as possible so that your headmaster and your teacher that you are assigned to, your support teacher, they know about your whereabouts. Because if you are not at school and IOL comes for a visit, you will be assigned a 0. So this is basically an example, a completed example. You will be signing, you will be completing, and your teacher that is assigned to you will sign on a daily basis. There is also an example of what we expect to you in terms of a medical certificate should you not be in a position to attend the school due to illness or other medical emergencies, or if you have a death certificate, if there's somebody or pass on in your family. You need to understand that if you are absent for a certain number of days, which will be communicated by IOL, in terms of sickness, your SPS will also be cancelled, because the reason for SPS is for you to, to gain the necessary experience. And if you are sick, most of times, then it's best for you not to, complete your stay at the school, but rather arrange for another opportunity where you can commit yourself. The next one is, we have page 4. It is, you will see that there's additional comments, which is also the SPS tutor who will take responsibility to complete that. That part is actually the person who grades your work. Do not sign, please, because the SPS tutor will grade your work, and the SPS tutor will sign here and also write, some comments. So there is a complete example. You see the signature, the date. So so please do not, or ask your support teacher not to complete these sections. There's a letter that is being provided, in this particular study guide, and it's in your study guide as well. And we urge you, this letter is on page 6 and 7. We want you to read it carefully, that you have an understanding. We are going to touch, on the content of this letter also in this presentation. Continuation of the letter is there, and so page 6, 7, and 8 is your responsibility, that you take time, you sit and you read, and you make sure you understand what you are expected to do. Duration of the SPS visit at the school. You need to check here where your, or for the type of qualification that you are registered for. Then you will be guided in terms of what you have registered for. You will then see a duration has been attached, to that particular qualification. It will also tell you the number of lessons that you must prepare. Prepare is to write them out, and also the number of lessons that needs to be evaluated. You will write out and you will present the lessons, but not all of them will be evaluated. That you need to understand. Not all of them will be evaluated. So you need to understand what is, when you prepare for the lesson, it's when you write it out and you present the lesson, but not always you so that given that all of these lessons that you present will be evaluated. So we would want only 10 to be evaluated of the 20 that you have worked out or prepared and presented. And then the number of lessons recorded, the other ones that have not been, that you must record, as in your study guide, is gonna be 10, that we would want to see that they have been evaluated, and then you must record it. So if you see that the lessons being evaluated and they correspond, so there is a part in your study guide where where your support teacher will literally award you marks, and those will then be recorded as the lessons evaluated. This is now towards the end of your SPS guide or your SPS workbook. We want you to read page 11 in your study guide. There you will be learning about or reading about the aims of SPS school-based studies, and also the role of the school-based stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? The role of the teachers, learners, and school receptionists, and also your behavior at the school. So you need to be professional. You need to conduct yourself professionally at the school. You can read more about that on page 11. We continue. What is it so, why is it so important that we stress behavior at the school? It's not your home. It is a place where professional people gather and you are a guest. You will abide by the rules of the school, so your attitude and behavior should therefore reflect accordingly. You must adhere to some guidelines. And the first one, very important, is that you need to arrive at the school on time and you do not leave the school grounds before the end of the day. If anything happens, if for reasons outside your control, you arrive late or cannot show up at school at all, it's your responsibility to inform the school office as soon as possible. You need to be mindful how you behave. You need to be cautious in terms of the administrative, how things are being done administratively, and also the teaching staff. You need to be cautious about all the administrative and the teaching staff as well as the learners. This we encourage you to, pay attention to. So your behavior at the school continues, and once you've now informed, say for example, it was absence, you were absent from the school, you are sick, or you have done that one. But also, once you get to the school, one of the most important things is that you should get a copy of the school and class rules, and you need to study these rules so that you can also adhere and apply these rules correctly. Talking about, your dress code, we are in an professional environment. You need to be professional at all times. You need to be well groomed at all times. You need to be punctual and be well prepared for your lessons and also other tasks assigned to you. Assist with academic, administrative, or extracurricular tasks. So if you are asked to lend a hand with, some things that needs to be done, please do give that hand, lend that hand and assist. No personal or confidential information of the school or learner should be made public by you, and do not criticize staff or learners, and also ask how and why questions relating to the profession and the school, and show enthusiasm to learn the ropes. So these are the things that you need to take cognizance of. Keep the school-based study guide, your book, so your workbook, have it with you when you do the classroom teaching, and also it needs to be there every day. Reason being is that book is used to do your assessments. So if they evaluate you, they need to use that particular book. If IOL comes, they need to use that book, and your tasks are also in that particular book. So you need to have it with you every day. In most cases, the staff room may be too small. It's a possibility. Or there's a lack of facilities, so there are not enough chairs to accommodate you additional people. So there may arise, uh, or there may be some occasions where you will not have a chair, and then you should stand in the staff room. You remains in a standing position, or you can also wait outside the staff room if there is not enough room in the staff room. About some refreshments for your uh, coffee break during break time. You will have to bring your own coffee to the school, or you will have to donate if you would want to make use of what is being offered by the school. To play safe is have your own stuff with you, your coffee, um, and then just get the water from the school. So make sure that you do bring these your own cups to the school, so that you do not make a nuisance of yourself. Also, thank the principal and staff on your last day at the school during the break time for their support and the support that they provided you. You can bring some snacks. It's not compulsory, but we advise you to do so as a token of appreciation. So if it's possible, you may. If it's not possible, we will understand. We are now at page 12 in your study guide, and it's paragraph 5.1 and 5.2. We urge you to read through your responsibility with regard to the school-based experience, and 5.1 your responsibility for the school-based experience, and 5.2 your responsibility during the school-based experience. I have already spoken about some of it, but you are also advised to familiarize yourself with the content there. And then 5.3 is your responsibility after the school-based experience. This is what I would like to just as focus on for the moment. So you need to attach your school-based studies, the report completed by the school principal, to the school, the school-based uh, book, your study guide, and then you place it in an envelope when you submit it. The submission of the completed SPS study guide and form should be done within 1 week of completing your SPS at the school. So all forms of academic dishonesty will not, any form of academic dishonesty, such as cheating, plagiarism. These are not things that we will entertain. These are strictly prohibited. Send an SMS to the subject teacher and the appointed school-based mentor to thank them again after you have, completed your stay, for the support that they offer you and input into the role that they play in your professional development as a teacher. It's always good to be thankful. Evaluation of your school-based performances. So the school-based experience, we have learned about this. It's the assignment, the lesson preparation, the lesson presentation. What are these? Assignment is what you can download, you completed it, you submit it also electronically, and then the lesson preparations are those lessons that you write out on a daily basis, and the lesson presentation is what you basically present, you write it out in the preparation, but with the presentation, it is what you present basically, which your teacher assigned to you will grade it. They will award marks, grades to your commitment. Then there are some evaluation forms that they must complete. So the teacher will then evaluate these. They will keep a record of what the lessons that you have, that they have evaluated. And then you will have to record, these lesson presentations also to be completed by the assessor in the study guide, in the SPS guide. So these 3 sections are assessed and must be passed, which we already warned you, made it very clear to you, 60% for each of these sections. If you fail one section, then you will be allowed the second opportunity, which is called the redo. You will then be failed, and then you will have to go back to the school. The following, opportunity that comes up. In terms of school-based observation tasks, so there are some tasks, there's like in your assignments tasks to observe, to write down, and also in your school-based study guide, there's also an opportunity for you to observe. So for the school-based studies phase, you must complete the following 2 teacher observation forms that they are on sections 7.1, 7.2. You observe 2 teachers to learn how they create an effective learning environment, and your observations need to be jotted down in those paragraphs. It's 2 pages. 7.1, a full page, and 7.2, another page. If you do not complete these sections, you will be penalized. Let's now look at, 7 point, we are now done with 7.1 and 2. Let's look at 7.3. 7.3 consists of 3 parts. Part A, you will ask permission to observe a teacher. You ask permission. I see it's 7.1. It's 7.1. It's not 7.3. So this is, you just can't just start observing it. That the teacher, you must get approval, and if the teacher agrees, then you will then complete the A part. You will ask permission, and then the teacher will complete part A. That is the responsibility of that teacher. Part B, you will complete part B based on what you have observed while you were observing, that particular teacher for that period. And C, please provide an answer to number 4. That is where many students also don't complete. You must provide an answer for that one, so you complete it to the best of your ability. Then 7.2, part A, you will ask permission again to do the observations. Part B, you will complete it based on what, and then the C part, it's basically the same as 7.2. Then there are examples, you see, that has been graded. This is what we do as your SPS tutors. We grade your work depending on how much effort you have invested, input in your assignment. The better your commitment, the higher your grade. Okay. Then number 8 is school-based lesson preparations. Preparations is what it says you must prepare. You will have to prepare a number of lessons. You familiarize yourself with the number on pages 9 and 10 according to the format provided on pages 7 and 8. And then the lesson preparation should cover the different themes and the subjects, be it CE, CE, DE, CE, DPPE, DJPE, or a number on page 8 and 9. If it's the primary subject, we have the PESR, we have the DSPR, we have the DE, we have the DS, and we have the DSE. You need to familiarize yourself with what you have enrolled for, what you've registered for, and then you adhere to the requirements. So all the prepared lessons, what you have written out, prepared yourself for, should be presented, all of them. A certain number of the presentations will then be evaluated by a senior teacher. I hope it's clear so far. Guidance on the lesson preparation. So the lesson preparations, this is now the written lessons. There are pages 21 to 64, and use these to prepare your lessons. Certain instructions, you need to use the IOL lesson preparation forms in your book, in your SPS school book, and not the ones available at the school. So you will have to write the lesson that you are going to present at least one day before the presentation date. So it means if you present tomorrow, then today you must already have planned for tomorrow. You need to need to work, and also that read your SPS study guide so that you know what is expected of you, and very important that you have an understanding of what's going on, especially when it's the first time that you go out for SPS. Guidance on the lesson preparation. Written lessons should be available. We've spoken about it. If your lessons a written lesson is unavailable when IOL visits, a 0 will be recorded. So make sure that you are prepared, that your lesson is ready, and so that you don't have to repeat the phase. Be mindful of the date, be mindful of the topic, and the score from your evaluation. That needs to be there. There needs to be a date, there needs to be a topic, and the score from your evaluator. There should be a teacher's signature at all times in these evaluations, because this is a proof that the evaluation was done. You need to take cognizance of the fact of the due dates for the submission of the SPS. It is changed to the Tuesday after you complete the SPS. So please be mindful of this. Adhere to this very important, a detail. Guidelines on page 13. Some of the answers are based upon the knowledge in the study guide. So just be mindful of that as well. More about the guidance on the preparation. You see, you have a responsibility to observe the student, the teachers at the school. You record that. There you have exposure to or access to school documents, and you also need to, or have an opportunity to consult with staff. What is consult? Have consultations with staff. What does that mean? It means you need to sometimes have conversations with them to get some answers from them. We call it having an interview with them. Talk to them, ask questions. Ask questions from students so that you can, get access to information that you may need. Your teaching experience will come in handy with the practical questions because these questions are part of your assignment as well. We're not going to give you any half marks. And also for spelling, you are not going to be, penalized, but we encourage you to be mindful. You are a teacher, you are professional. So please, we expect from you to submit work that are academically free of error as much as possible. Try to always to walk the extra mile so that your work is presented correctly. So 5 of your lesson preparations, we will be evaluating them, This is now the assessor at IOL, the SPS teacher, SPS tutor. We will be allocating marks, 5 of them, 20 marks each, which adds up to 100 marks. So, and then we are going to deduct, there's going to be a penalty for any limitations that we may observe in your work. And it may also, if things are really not up to standard, you will not be awarded any marks and your work will be sent back and you will fail that particular phase. Lesson preparation example form. So this is what we have. Early childhood, for example, 8.8.1, pre-primary, junior primary. So there's a subject with the lesson content, with the resources and integration, learning support, the homework. So this is what it looks like. The lesson examples, this is what we have offered you with. So there is a lesson planning example that you may use. Next page is the pre-preparation component. This is an example. We want you to look at it, the syllabus topic. Where do you get it from? From your curriculum, your syllabus, which can be downloaded from the NEAT website, or you can make photocopies from what your teacher, your support teacher offers you in their scheme of work. They do have a file where they keep a copy of the syllabus. And you need to always have access to the syllabus so that you use the syllabus to do your preparation. What is situational analysis is how much does the student know about the topic that you will be teaching. So it's the prior knowledge of the student or the learner. Then we learned about basic competencies. It's what the student, the learner will be able to do, should be able to do. It's always, the word should is always part of, the introductory sentence. And it will start with a measurable verb, recognize number sequences through counting, rhymes, and finger plays chants. So we see here that this is taken verbatim from verbatim is word by word from your syllabus. So mechanically count up to 20, very precise, measurable. In terms of the learning objectives, it always starts with learner's world, and it also been gotten from the syllabus. Resources are any pictures or, objects that you may need to assist you in terms of you to facilitate learning while you are, presenting your lesson. It can be posters, it can be beads, it can be wooden blocks or sticks, marbles, etc. Presentation component, this is actually the B part. So it's 3 phases: B1, B2, and B3. So B1 is motivation. You preach in so that you can have their focus. This is how you hook the students when your first engagement with the students. And you have learned about previously and how this can be done. So please do practice what you preach or what you have learned. 5 minutes, and then you have for P2, which is now the biggest, but 80% of the period is your information processing. This is what you are going to do. Tell us about your teaching strategy that you are using there, and then give us the steps of what you have in mind for this lesson to be successful. Your steps is what you're going to do, what your learners will be doing while you are presenting the lesson. And then the last part, which is assessment and reinforcement, is when you are done with the information sharing phase, then you will assess to see whether best learning has been taken place. This is also the reinforcement. What is the reinforcement? It's just to repeat some of the, information that you have shared with them to make sure that the knowledge shared to them has been cemented. This is just going to be for 5 minutes, and it's going to be the final part of your lesson. 8.1.2, we also see there for the senior primary or for the ICPE or the ICSE or the BSP, DE, DSE, the DSE. They also have, to complete that part, and guidance has been given basically the same. You cannot do your lesson preparation without a syllabus. So you are encouraged to make sure that you do have access to a syllabus. Then this is how what it will look like after you have completed it and we have graded it. So we literally go through page by page and we mark each page in your book. You don't know which lessons that we will be grading, but all the parts of the book that you compile, we are going to look at it to verify that you have indeed, done a proper job. So the lesson preparations and presentations we continue. We see that the presentation forms of the school, you need to take cognizance that they differ from what we offer in our book, our SPS book. So you use the ones provided in the SPS book and you do your planning using that particular form, but you cannot do your planning if you don't have access to a syllabus. So how to plan your lesson preparations for each component of the IOL. The lesson preparation form is explained already, and also you can find it in pages 17 to 24 or in the, in your book. So there are several examples of lessons in your SPS book that you can read through, and then you can pick up, some hints. Take note of the following on the evaluation form. Now it's now S1, so it's presentation. We are going to penalize you for not having certain information there that is mandatory. We will deduct marks. Make sure that all sections are completed. You have done the checklist of 7.1 and 2. There is enough facts provided. We will be penalizing you if we find it that you have not, done a proper job. If there are, not comments provided by the teacher where we ask the teacher to comment, especially when high marks are being given, we would want comments that justify the marks provided to you as the student. Incomplete lesson evaluations, if it's not there. For example, the evaluation was done, but you have not recorded correctly on that particular sheet, you will be losing marks, and then you must do some reflections. You have 2 reflections. One is after each lesson, there's a reflection, and then you also have a part towards the end of the study guide, your SBS book, where you share with us some strengths and weaknesses. Please make sure that all these sections are being completed to the best of your ability. We continue to see lesson 25. Have it ready at all times. So if IOL visit your school, they will be using this lesson. So you will have to prepare this one, plan it, have it ready. And the moment IOL visits the school, then you are going to present this particular lesson. Lesson preparation examples, we have already spoken about this. Page 16 and 17 for the early childhood, the pre-primary, junior primary. And then we also have a 17 and 18, which is now for the senior primary and the secondary phases. We do have these examples. So just templates are in the book. Just and we've also given you the page numbers, so just visit those page numbers to familiarize yourself with what we've offered you with, or we offered to you. We have the evaluation, the forms in the study guide. There are 2 evaluations. Please be mindful of this with the presentation in the classroom. So your assessor will evaluate you, and she will then complete this. Once the evaluation is done, then they will turn to page 70. You will then, they will complete an evaluation form, and then you will record this evaluation form. From 3, there you transfer the final mark of what the outcome of your, what has been assigned to you, the grade, to 107, which is now where you record these evaluated lessons to ensure that all evaluations are signed by you as well as the assessor. Who is the assessor? Is the person that awarded the grades to you at the school. And then you will see here, you as your assessor will sign, and then you will also sign, and then it need also to be a date. Recording of the teacher assessed lesson scores. What is that? In your study guide, record all teacher assessed lesson scores. We spoke about it. Page 101, you record the teacher assessed lesson scores. This is where you do the actual recording, and the assessor does not evaluate the written lesson. So they will not evaluate what you have prepared. We will evaluate it. They just see that you have followed the steps that you have provided when you write out your lesson. So they will not award any marks for those lessons that you have written out. We are the ones at IOL to award those marks to you. So the lesson preparation, these will be marked, the written lessons, these will be marked by IOL, the tutor, and then you will then receive your mark. We will be also awarding marks for you for presentation, after you have submitted your book. So preparation and presentation. Preparation are the ones that you have written out and that you have presented. Preparation and then presentation is, so for preparation, your teacher will award you a mark, but for presentation, we will then award you a mark at IOL. So we see there, it's part of the closure. What we see, there's a date, it's a student signature, and there's an assessor signature. Please do design model after you've prepared and written out the lesson on a daily basis. They will then sign. Once you have presented, and then it's an evaluated lesson that they need to evaluate, they will go towards the half of the book. In the half of the book, there are the evaluation forms, and the grade that has been awarded in that evaluation form will be then transferred to the page 101, which is at the end of your book, towards the end of your book. How to complete the evaluation from 70 to 99. All the components and criteria have to be completed or evaluated. So ask the teacher to add the actual value if it's like a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4, please. Make sure that the grade is complete, and on pages 65 and 69, we have an explanation on how to do this. So you are encouraged, before your teacher does the evaluation, that you have adequate knowledge on how this is being done. This is what we have here. Ticks have been provided, but we encourage you to write out the number. You will see this evaluator has done a great job. You know, it justifies the mark that has been awarded to that particular student. Then, so here are just examples for you to see, only for illustrative purposes, what we would want to see once it is here, once we see it here, or once we received it here. There is the reflection that you must do, see how beautifully the student is reflected, and also then the dates, signatures you will reflect on your experience after each lesson that you have presented and which ways have been evaluated. Forms to complete before you submit the study guide on page 100. Number 10, there is a reflection on the weak and strong points of your reflection of what what you experienced while you presented the lesson. And this is the first page that the tutor opens when he or she start marking. We would want to see what was the student's experience as well after the student has presented. What was it? What was the experience of the student while the student was presenting the lesson? So please do reflect, adequately on your strong and your weak points. Please state state your at least 3 strong points and 3 weak points. While you were presenting the lesson, or what you experienced. Then you need to go to page 101. Here is now, which is 11. Here you need to record the teacher evaluated lesson, which is form 34. And ensure that it is fully completed and that the teacher's signature is also provided, because this is a proof that your work was assessed. Then on page 102, which is by number 12, you need there is a record of lesson presentation. So the ones that have not been evaluated, you presented it, but it's not being evaluated. So those ones you will then record on that page, which is 102. This is form number 5, and it should be fully completed and signed. These are the lessons that were not evaluated, but you presented it. You have planned it, you have written it out, and you presented it, but they were not evaluated. Then we go here to page 106. Here, the strong points and the weaknesses. The weak points must be completed. You see how beautiful the student completed it. And page 107 is a record of the student as the teacher assessed lessons that must be completed. You see there, if we count them, I think it's 10, 2, 4, 6. It's 8 lessons for this particular student. And very neat work, very, very neat work. We talk about the principal's report. This is now, there's an example on page 103 that illustrates the principal report so that you can see, the criteria that the principal will be looking at while, completing that particular form. That has to be completed, and a copy of this form needs to be sent to IOL, a signed copy with the stamp of the school as well. And you will have to attach the closed envelope to your study guide before you submit your document. So this letter is proof that you were at the school. In terms of the redos, you are going to go back to the school for the redo. We will speak about it later also. 60% you need to obtain to pass it. So if you were unsuccessful for any reason in your your endeavor going to the school, not completing it, you failed, and you will have to go back. And it also reminds you to adhere to the due dates. We will speak about that in a minute. The assignment, this is now the assignment. If you have failed your assignment, then you will have to redo the assignment. You need also to answer all the questions again. You will, for the preparation, you will present the 6 lessons, write it out, go back to the school, first write out and then present, and then the lesson preparation is to improve on the marked lessons and ensure that you give enough information. Please do give enough information when you go back and you do the redo. we have a component. It depends on what you fail. If you fail your presentation, you go back. If you fail your assignment, you will have to complete that assignment that you fail. Otherwise, you will not be, you cannot continue to the next phase. Final dates for the SPS guys and the redos. This will be communicated with you. You will receive a letter and please adhere to these dates. So please, if you have received a letter, please do read through it so that you can adhere to these final dates. Lesson planning, pages now 21 to 64. You need to, plan, prepare. We are going to grade as the tutor 5 of these lessons. You don't know which 5. You must obtain 60%, and you need to pay attention to all the components. B has got the A section is on the first page and the B section is on the second page. And B section contains of 3 parts, where you have your introductory session, you then have the main part of the session, the lesson, and then you have your conclusion of the lesson, which is also called the where you just consolidate, or when you provide an assessment on what the lesson, the main parts of your lesson, or what the topic of that particular lesson for that day. There's A2. So A1 is now, that the part that you need to provide the details on top. A2 is where you have the situational analysis. What is situational analysis? Is there any prior knowledge that the student has on that particular topic? You need to write it down. And if your SPS is done in January, you will find that some of the grade learners cannot count, for example. And then you will then say that some of them are not able to count. So this is what you observe in terms of their competencies when you enter the class. If you do a space in July, then you will find that most of the learners already have the knowledge to count. And this means that you can start on another level. You don't have now to go back to the basics, but you start at the level of the analysis you have done in terms of the competencies of your learners. And then if you expected them to do some things and they cannot, then you will have to start at their level, even if it's a lower level of that you have prepared yourself, for this particular lesson. So you can ask the teacher for this information, but you can also, by means of posing questions to the learners, and you may also, detect at what level they are. And you can start your written lesson preparation. For example, all learners in the class, or most of the learners in the class, have prior knowledge, so they can count up to from 1 to 10. So this is basically your situation analysis. A3, basic competencies. This is what the learner should be able to do when they are done with when you have we are done with your lesson. To identify, it's always observable verb that we use there. The sentence was always at the end of the lesson, the period. The learner should be able to count. Count is observable. It's a verb from 1 to 5, very specific. Or they should be able to write the numbers from 1 to 5, or identify the water sources. So you see, starts with a verb that is observable. And then all the planning and presentation will focus on your lesson outcomes. What you do, what you present, what you assess on, there should be constructive alignment. So your learning outcome will guide you. Where will you get it from? From your syllabus. What do you use to prepare you the prescribed book, or you will do some research if there's no prescribed books, but your syllabus will guide you into when you prepare these lessons. So the learning outcomes are most crucial, is a most crucial aspect of your lesson preparation. You will also, when you students write or learners write tests, make sure that your learning outcomes are covered in that particular assessments that you allow the students to engage with. And for the learning objectives, so here we see it was learners will appreciate and understand the need and convenience of counting in everyday life. This you also get from your syllabus. A5, which is the resources. Here we learn about the resources is any possible object that you may use to help you facilitate the lesson. It can be, we spoke about it earlier, poster, it can be stones, bottles, whatever you need to help you to facilitate learning. B part, there's a presentation component. So there we have B1 with an introduction, motivation, and focus phase. Here is where you preach in. So during the HBS period at the school, you will see and experience the disorder before there's going to be chaos, né? Before each lesson. So this introduction in your class, so you need to hook the students, the learners, so that you have their attention before you start with the lesson of the activity. So this can be an activity, it can be a song questions, a very short story, whistle, a puppet. So just for them that you have them and not to continue in this disorder, just to, hook their attention. You can use a resource of various resources for this engagement. This is B1. Then, now the information processing part is the larger part, is 80% of your lesson. Here you need now to engage with your learners deeper. You start presenting your lesson and then the steps that you use in this part. You need to describe its steps. You focus on the teaching activity, no lesson information, no learning activities. They are not the steps. What you do as a teacher. So every step should start with a capital letter and end in a full stop. So you use one step per line, and then the teacher shows a picture of a person. We want you to think before you ink, to plan your steps before you write them, and we hope that you understand now why you should not wait till the end of the SBS to write your lessons. It is time of consuming. B3, which is the assessment and reinforcement part. Yeah, you plan something to find out whether the learners understand your lesson, whether your lesson was successful. Did they understand? You need to have an assessment there. You need to have assurance that they do indeed understand what the knowledge that you transfer to them, that they are able to possess this knowledge that they have learned while you were engaging with them, or also just to reinforce at this particular phase. So this is the final part of your lesson. We can also call it the conclusion of the lesson. So that during this phases here, you can provide a summary, the main point of the lesson, and sometimes you can ask them, what have you learned? They can also provide a summary of the lesson to you, but you will have to consolidate also. This will give you an indication whether your lesson was successful. And if more than half of the class reacts positive, then your lesson was good. But if more than half cannot, they don't know what you have spoken about, what you learned them, then unfortunately your lesson was not successful. Then you will have to reteach so that they understand. And also, now you can gather your materials and put them away for the teacher to start with a next lesson. Once you're done with your lesson, You may have used resources. Make sure that you remove what you have used so that the teacher has a clear and a clean surface to work on. So do not write teacher assess the slow learners. How did you assess? How did you? We wouldn't want you just to say you assess, but we would want to know how did you do that assessment. Take note of the following aspects when doing the assignment. T, which is the T. We see that you must answer the question, sentences straight to the point, electronic submissions only, clear punctuation, spelling, vocabulary needs attention, and consult teacher and school documents if needed, and follow the thinking required by the verb of the assignment. And then facts to be answered. Questions should be numbered, and facts given and marks allocated per question should correlate. We continue, and then we say the redo. Now, this is now a special insert for you so that you understand the redo. This is what your book will look like. If you do a redo, I have alluded to that earlier. There is maybe some reason you could not complete the SPS, then you will be asked to redo for several reasons. Attendance register needs to be kept and you need to complete it. You will go back to the school for a week and at least 3 days to stay at the school and then complete your the redo. If you're able to do it in 2 days, then it means it's 3 lessons a day, or 3 days, 2 lessons a day. But we would want to see that 6 lessons prepared, presented, and completed. The redo study guide now needs to be completed so that you can get your marks for the redo. Then the redo individual feedback from the examiner. We will provide you with feedback. This will be done by the IOL tutor. We will provide you with additional comments if need be. We will sign and we will add a date to your work. Then redo lesson plans. You write it out. We've already spoken about the sections A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3. Please go back to the school for 3 days. Plan and present 6 lessons, all 6 lessons to be evaluated. A record date, and then it needs to be recorded. There needs to be a date. The student needs to be signed. The assistant needs to be signed. So the 10 steps need to be written out of how are you going to present the lesson, the main steps that you will be following. Redo lesson evaluation. See, this is what, while you are presenting the lesson, the teacher will then completing this one. We will urge you to use the digits there, 5, and not only the crosses or the ticks that we saw earlier, but to indicate with a digit, a 5, a 1, a 2. It's easier for us to control. Then reflection also needs to be done. You reflect after you've presented the lesson. Please do complete this section as well. The strength and the weaknesses first, the reflection of what was your experience, what was it like doing the lesson, what went good, what went not so good, and then also the strength and the weaknesses that you need and how you are going to improve on your weaknesses, and also the signatures, very important. We have the record of the teaching evaluation lesson, the same as we've done it for the SPS. Here, the same principle applies. We want you then yet also to look at this so that you get your marks and that you don't have to fail a redo. So record of the teacher evaluated lessons, as well as the record of the lesson presentations. The ones evaluated, only those ones, and those ones that were not evaluated will be recorded here, but you presented it, will be recorded as the lesson presentations. This brings us to the next slide, which is the final remark. And IOL aims to teach you the correct way to prepare for lessons. And also we urge you to adhere to the lesson planning format provided by SBS model. This actually brings us to the end of our presentation. And I would like to congratulate you once again for taking this particular module, and also best of luck. Walk the extra mile for you to get an excellent mark. Good luck with your studies, and bye-bye.